After Amrita Khan was held on a charge of being a Muslim terrorist, Rahul and Emily moved on. They did not visit her or try to find out what happened to her. To them, she was just a transient vagrant, albeit a very pretty one, who was a guest for 2 days before the authorities removed her. Not long after, Rahul received a phone call from India. It was on a Saturday afternoon and Rahul and Emily were having lunch at home. It was Emily who responded to the phone call. The caller told her that he wanted to speak to Mr. Rahul Patel. Emily passed the receiver to her boyfriend and continued her lunch. When she saw Rahul stiffen up, drop the phone and slowly sink to his knees weeping, she knew that the phone call from India did not bring with it good news. She guessed that he had lost his mother or someone dear to him. Instead of asking him what was the sad news about, she picked up the receiver and talked to the caller who was still on the line. The caller introduced himself as the lawyer for the estate of Mrs. Lakshmi Patel, and repeated his request to talk to her son, Rahul Patel. Emily explained that Rahul was weeping and overwhelmed and that she did not know what news he had received that caused him to be in such a state. The lawyer told her that Rahul's mother was murdered in Baroda city by some gangsters who broke into her villa at midnight and stole her jewelry and other costly items. Pausing, the lawyer then explained that Mrs. Lakshmi Patel was murdered 3 months ago. What surprised Emily was that the murder was committed 3 months ago and since then no one had informed her son of her death. She tried to find out from the lawyer why her boyfriend was only being notified 3 months after the demise of his mother. The lawyer sounded apologetic when he stated that he was only appointed recently by the court to execute the will of the late Mrs. Lakshmi Patel. Then, he requested Emily pass the phone to Rahul because there was some confidential information he needed to disclose. Emily hesitated, and then told the lawyer that her boyfriend wasn't in any condition to talk right then. She added that he should call tomorrow at the same time. Rahul did not know that his mother had died a while back. It was his habit, since arriving in America, to wait for his mother to phone him rather than call her. His mother authorized her bank in India to make monthly payments of $3,000 every month to his account. Unless it was serious, Rahul never bothered to call, instead preferring to wait for his mother's bi-monthly checkups on him. As all mothers go, she would ask about his studies and his health. Since she was a healthy woman and wealthy, Rahul always assumed that nothing would happen to his mother. That day, for the second time in his life, someone close to him had left him. Rahul lost his father in a terrorist attack on the Taj Mahal Hotel in Mumbai. At that time, the only relatives he had besides his mother were his auntie Rani Krishna and her son Samir Krishna Khan, who were living in Mumbai. His mother phoned him over a year ago and told him that his cousin was murdered by a rival lover during the shooting of a Bollywood movie he was starring in. Nevertheless, Rahul did not shed a single tear because his cousin had Muslim blood running in his veins. Rahul's mother did mention at some point, his auntie had adopted a girl. She told him further that the girl inherited 400 crores of rupees from her deceased parents and she was recently crowned Miss World. After that, she broke the news that his aunt and she had planned to get the gorgeous crorepati married to him. Rahul initially accepted the proposal, but he told his mother that he would not give his final decision until he had met and talked to the girl. When his mother's lawyer called the following day, he informed a still grieving Rahul that a couple of days before her murder, his mother had added a provision to her will, and it was legally binding. According to her new will, her son would not be allowed to inherit a single rupee from her if he did not marry the Indian girl that she had chosen for him. Moreover, the will specified that his bride should be the adopted daughter of his aunt Rani Krishna and her name was Aphrodite Krishna Khan. Rahul was shocked when he learned that the Burqa girl who came to his apartment recently was the one that his mother and auntie had chosen to be his future wife. More than that, he could not comprehend the sudden change in his mother's attitude towards Muslims, which led her to choose a Muslim girl for her Hindu son. The lawyer concluded his phone conversation by explaining that his mother's will specifically stated that if my son Rahul Patel refuses to abide by my condition of marrying his cousin and chooses instead to marry a white girl or any other girl, then my entire inheritance should go to my niece, Aphrodite Krishna Khan. As a matter of fact, the late Mrs. Lakshmi Patel inserted this clause before meeting Aphrodite Khan. She had merely inserted the name later. With her vast network of confidants, she was well aware that her son had a live-in white girlfriend. When her sister and niece came to seek refuge in her house, she got to know her niece well and was sorely tempted by her niece's breathtaking beauty and inherited fortune. Eventually, being the overprotective Indian mother that she was, she made this important decision for her only son. He would either marry her niece and his cousin, or he would not inherit a single paisa from her. Rahul had initially decided to marry the Indian girl his mother had chosen for him because he wanted to please her and he needed to secure his position as her only heir. Now that his mother had passed away, he began to change his mind. He preferred to marry his white girlfriend, Amelia Vagdvarestis, rather than marry a girl he had no emotional attachment to. Nevertheless, the condition that his late mother inserted into her will created a serious problem for him. He shared his problem with his girlfriend. When she heard the condition, Emily was shocked and outraged. She told him that his mother was an irrational and backward woman. How could she make such a condition for her grown-up son? Emily, given her upbringing, believed that his mother's precondition revealed that she was a domineering and self-serving woman. Besides, her boyfriend's mother put her culture above the personal choice of her son. For that reason, Emily told Rahul to forget about the inheritance of his selfish mother and live his life the way he wanted. Nonetheless, Rahul was determined not to allow a single rupee of his family's inheritance to go to someone who had no right to it. His reasoning was based on the fact that whatever fortune his mother had left behind belonged to his late father. He told his girlfriend that he would never allow a Muslim girl to inherit the wealth of his family when his father was killed by Muslims for no reason whatsoever. Wherefore, Rahul was very angry at his mother for daring to include the name of a Muslim girl in the inheritance of his father. Later, when he had calmed down, he had second thoughts. He admitted to Emily that his mother would probably never have done anything like that. His mother was not exactly fond of Islam either. In fact, she abhorred its followers. He then claimed that some forgery or sleight of hand must be responsible for this latest development. Rahul suspected that his auntie Rani Krishna might have had a hand in the conspiracy against his deceased mother. The will that dictated he should marry the adopted daughter of his aunt or stand to lose his inheritance only served to strengthen his belief that his aunt was somehow behind the forgery. It was very odd that his aunt did not come along with her adopted daughter. His mother had already told him that both his aunt and the girl she had chosen for him were en route. It made sense that the tale of her 400 crores of rupees inheritance from her Muslim parents was a complete fabrication, and part of an elaborate plot to get hold of his rightful inheritance. Rahul decided, there and then, to fly to India and investigate this Aphrodite Krishna Khan. With any luck, he would find out how she managed to infiltrate the Krishna family and eventually stand to claim the rights of inheritance not just from his aunt but also from his dearly departed mother. The biggest question in his mind was how his mother's will had been altered and by whose hand. Rahul wanted to go to India alone, but his girlfriend insisted on accompanying him. Emily had heard too many stories of Indian boys who left their white girlfriends in the West and travelled to India only to come back with the traditional ever-agreeable Indian brides. She did not want to be the next disposable victim of this particular cultural practice that made no sense whatsoever, and this was a prudent measure to ensure she got what she deserved after a long engagement. Her curiosity at how things were unfolding had in no small way prevented the outcome and decision made for him. In any case, she was keen to see how he behaved away from the States. When the lovers arrived in Baroda city, the pre-trial hearings of Rani Krishna vs Lakshmi Patel were underway. Rani Krishna was accused of arranging the murder of her sister, Lakshmi Patel. The three killers claimed Ronnie had paid them a substantial amount of money to kill her sister. Ronnie categorically denied all the allegations against her. She stated that she had only come to know of the murder of her sister when she was detained by the Berlin police enforcement. She admitted that she had visited her sister and stayed in her house at Baroda for 3 days before fleeing to New Delhi with her daughter. From New Delhi, they flew to Germany. Ronnie mentioned that her daughter was under threat of death by the notorious international Indian Don, Dawood Ibrahim, after her controversial statement she made about Islam during her interview at the beauty contest in London. Ronnie stressed that at no time did she ever covet her sister's wealth or seek financial assistance from her. In mitigation, she claimed that the combined assets of her daughter and her were in excess of 100 times more than her sister's estate. As with most cases of this nature, Ronnie Krishna was detained without bail for 3 months, after which, she contacted many of her Bollywood friends and requested they help post bail for her, but none of her high society friends agreed to help her out. She could not post bail herself because she had no property left in India. Her only house in Mumbai was destroyed by Dawood Ibrahim's Muslim terrorists. Whatever money she once possessed in her bank account had been transferred to her daughter's account. She tried to contact her nephew in the USA where her daughter was supposed to be staying, but she couldn't because the phone number was listed in his girlfriend's name which she didn't know he had. Ronnie's lawyer tried to contact Aphrodite through Rahul's cell phone number, only to find out he had switched cell phone companies. Ronnie Krishna was all alone in jail, with no choice but to wait for the outcome of her trial, expected to take more than a year. News of the arrival of her nephew was conveyed to her first through her lawyer. She felt happy initially when she learned her late sister's son had come from the States. She began to count on him as the one who was going to bail her out or help her to contact her daughter. When her nephew visited her at the jail, she was shocked when he accused her of arranging the murder of his mother. He told her that she had planned the murder of his mother because she wanted to force him to marry the Muslim girl that she sent to the States. He swore to her that he would not return to America until he saw to it that she received the full punishment under law for the murder of her own sister and for the sake of gaining her property and wealth. Ronnie wept when she heard the heartbreaking words of her nephew. She asked him to tell her where her daughter was. He added more sorrow to her heart when he told her that her Muslim daughter was arrested by the FBI and charged with planning to carry out a terrorist attack on American soil. Ronnie wept uncontrollably for her daughter more than she wept for herself. She blamed herself for sending her innocent child all alone to America. She knew that her daughter was not mature enough to take care of herself or prove her innocence against the false charges she was being held for. She concluded that it was another evil plot conspired against them by the likes of none other than Dawood Ibrahim. Ronnie understood that the only way to get her daughter out of the American prison was to convince her nephew that her daughter was innocent. She knew that he was the only one who could help her in this desperate situation. Although he broke her heart by accusing her of murdering his mother, still Ronnie decided to solicit him again and convince him to help. She understood that her nephew would not help her unless she convinced him first of her innocence and then she could possibly expect him to help in proving the innocence of her daughter. At first, she thought of writing a letter to him, but she changed her mind. Then, she requested her lawyer telephone her nephew and ask him to come and meet his auntie again in jail because she had some important information to share with him about the murder of his mother. With much difficulty, the lawyer succeeded in convincing Rahul to revisit his auntie in jail and listen to what she was going to share with him regarding the murder of his mother. This time, Rahul came to the prison along with his white girlfriend. Ronnie did not know that her nephew had a girlfriend until he came to meet her on his second visit. This fact brought more grief to her heart and squashed her dreams of having her daughter married to him. Given her situation, she hid her pain and showed no reaction. She just pretended not to be concerned about it in the least. Actually, Rahul brought his American girlfriend in order to see his aunt's reaction. He believed that his auntie was interested in getting him married to the Muslim girl she had adopted as her daughter and sent her to his apartment in the States. "Why have you called me here to meet with you again?" asked Rahul angrily. "Can we talk in Hindi instead of English?" said Ronnie. "Why do you want to hide what you have to say from my girlfriend? I have no secrets to hide from anyone. I believe that what I am going to reveal to you is a family matter, and for that reason I prefer that it be kept private and confidential. Emily is my fiancée and hence she is going to be part of our family very soon. Well, before I reveal what I have called you her for, I would like to ask you a few questions." "What questions?" "My first question is, why do you believe I would have in any way planned the murder of your mother and my own sister?" "Because you want to get a share of her inheritance. You are the only son she has and hence legally you are the only one who would inherit from her. I suppose you have no idea that my mother changed her will a couple of days before her murder. To inherit her property, I am required to marry your Muslim daughter. In her will she stipulated that, if my son refuses to marry the adopted daughter of my sister and decides to marry another girl, then he cannot inherit a single rupee from me and all my property and money should go to my niece, Aphrodite Krishna Khan." "Oh my God, I never knew that your mother had made such a will." "Of course, you knew it, and that is why you sent your adopted daughter to the States. For money, you are prepared to do anything, even murdering your own sister. No matter what, I am not going to marry your dumb Muslim daughter. First of all, can you tell me how much is the market value of your mother's house and how much is in her bank account that she left behind for you to inherit?" "The market value of her house is 1.5 crores and her bank balance is 5 crores. "So, you think that I arranged the murder of my own sister because I wanted to inherit 6.5 crores of rupees by getting her son married to my daughter?" "Yes, you did. I know that some people in India murdered their own parents in order to inherit a house with less than a market value of 10 lakhs of rupees. Will you still believe that I had your mother killed because of 6.5 crores when you learn that my daughter, Aphrodite Krishna Khan, has more than 450 crores of rupees in her overseas bank accounts and has 3 houses abroad, in Jeddah, plus a 15-floor building which has the market value of $25 million? Do you still think I have arranged your mother's murder because of a few crores? Come on, give me a break. Do you think I am that much of a fool to believe such nonsense? Even the king of Bollywood, Amitabh Bachchan, could not make more than 300 crores in all his days of acting. So how could you and your Muslim daughter have all this money and houses and property? Even the daughter of the richest man in India, Anil Ambani, doesn't have half of that. I am not obligated to tell you from where my daughter and I have acquired our wealth or assets. I believe it is my duty to prove to you and to the court that my daughter has an overseas bank balance in Zurich in the amount of 450 crores of rupees, which is equal to $100 million. You can go to my lawyer and look at the official bank statement of her net worth with regard to her bank account balance alone, obtained from Switzerland as stated in the immigration declaration requirements for the US Embassy. I wouldn't believe it even if I saw the bank statement. Let us say for the sake of argument that your daughter has an unbelievably obscene amount of money in her bank. Do you think that I can marry a smelly burqa girl like the one you sent to me in the States because of her money? Rahul, shouted Ronnie angrily, you have no right to call my daughter a smelly girl. She is a Muslim girl after all, and she did not wash her body or change her filthy black burqa for days when she came to stay in our apartment in the States. You can ask my girlfriend, Emily, if you don't believe me. And you know that I hate Muslims because they killed my father when they stormed the Taj Mahal Hotel in Bombay. You of all persons should know my feelings. So even if a Muslim girl has billions of dollars, I am not going to marry her. First of all, not every Muslim killed your father. Secondly, my Muslim daughter acted as a heroine in a Bollywood film production and because of her unmatched beauty she became Miss India. You can say whatever you would like about your so-called Muslim daughter, but you can't prove it. Okay, I know you are an educated boy and you know how to do a search on the internet. Just go to Google and type the name Aphrodite Krishna Khan. You will discover that my daughter has been crowned this year's Miss World in London, UK. You just said she is Miss India and now you have made her Miss World. It simply makes no sense. Forget all this and tell me exactly why have you called me here? And for your information, whoever or whatever your Muslim daughter might be, I am not going to leave my American girlfriend, Emily, and marry a Muslim girl. I have not called you here because I want to beg you to marry my daughter. And for your information, my daughter is a Muslim by name only and she is not a devout Muslim by any stretch of the imagination. It is true she was born and brought up as a Muslim, but since I adopted her, I have never seen her read the Quran once or pray to Allah. I also was the one who asked her to put on the burqa because I didn't want anyone to recognize her. If you believe she is the most beautiful girl in the world, why do you want to hide her face behind an ugly burqa? That is why I have called you to come and meet me again here today. I wanted to tell you that your mother has been killed because of my daughter. I don't understand you. Just come to the point and tell me who killed my mother and why she was killed. Before I tell you who killed your mother, I must tell you why I told her under no circumstances is she to show her face in public for fear the same people that killed your mother will try to take her life as well. I don't believe there is any connection between the murder of my mother and the problems of your Muslim daughter. Before you jump to conclusions, let me tell you there is a connection. When my daughter received her crown as Miss World in London, she called the Prophet Muhammad my foot. Her statement led the international Muslim terrorist, Dawood Ibrahim, of India to plot her assassination on the very day of our return from London. His Muslim terrorists chased my daughter from city to city. They came to know somehow that my daughter and I had fled from Mumbai and were hiding at the house of your mother at Baroda. But, when they reached your mother's house, my daughter and I had already left for New Delhi. When they did not find us in Baroda, they murdered your mother and stole her valuables. What is your evidence? Do you have anything to prove your claim in court? My lawyer has collected enough evidence to prove everything I have said to you. Your mother isn't the only victim. There are some Christian nuns in New Delhi who also were attacked by the same terrorists. Those nuns gave us shelter for a few days before we finally managed to escape to Germany. 2 of those nuns were brutally raped and 1 was murdered by those ruthless Muslim terrorists. If you don't believe my words, you can go to my lawyer or you can get the address of the South Indian Christian nuns from him and travel to New Delhi and talk to them yourself. There is one more victim in Mumbai. She is a Hindu police inspector. She saved the life of my daughter at the last moment. She informed us about the assassination attempt on my daughter's life on our arrival at the Santa Cruz airport. For that reason, Dawood Ibrahim's terrorists punished her in a gruesome way. They stripped her naked and raped her in front of all her neighbors. She was put on exhibit fully naked before hundreds of onlookers. The same terrorists dropped a bomb on my house at Bandra and burnt it to the ground. They also planted 5 bombs at the construction site where my daughter was building housing for the street children of Bombay. Okay, if Dawood Ibrahim's terrorists were after your daughter's life while she was in India, why do you want her not to be recognized in the States? Why did you tell her to hide her true identity and cover her entire body in a black burqa when she came to America? Why did she lie to us by saying her name is Amrita Khan when her passport was issued under a different name? This is another reason I called you here today. I want you to contact the FBI and inform them my daughter has been arrested in America under false charges. I believe that Dawood Ibrahim's terrorists supplied false information about my daughter to the police there and caused the American authorities to believe she had been involved in some kind of terrorist activities. Rahul knew that Ronnie's daughter was arrested not because of false information supplied by anyone in India or the mafia, but because his girlfriend wanted to get rid of her. Nevertheless, he decided not to expose his girlfriend. For that reason, he told his auntie that he was going to verify every claim she made before he would decide what to do next. Without giving any promise or hope, he left his auntie and walked away with his white girlfriend. The second meeting of Rahul with his auntie created some doubts in his mind. He found himself facing some challenging questions. If what my auntie had said about her daughter was true, then why would she arrange the death of my mother? If her daughter truly had over 450 crores of rupees and other overseas properties in her possession, why would her mother plan the murder of her sister for the sake of having a share in a 6 crores inheritance? If her daughter won Miss India and was crowned Miss World, then why would she plot the murder of her sister? Why did my mother insist in her will that I marry the daughter of my aunt? Rahul understood that the only way to get reliable answers for those challenging questions was to begin his search on the internet, without his girlfriend's knowledge. After hearing his aunt's incredible claims, Emily time and time again warned him that he was being deceived and entrapped by an elaborate scheme. She told him that in America, the legal system in India was known for its corruption. She believed his auntie's lawyer might already have forged many documents in order to clear his client from the murder charge. She could not believe that the Burqa girl who came to their apartment in the States and slept one day in their garage and another day in their kitchen could have over $100 million in an overseas account. She said to her boyfriend, no one in the entire world could convince her that that smelly packy girl who stayed in their apartment for 2 days without washing her body until she was forced to do so could be a film actress. She said further, she would never ever believe that that smelly burqa girl who defiled their couch and made their washroom a filthy mess could be Miss World. Emily went to the extent of saying to Rahul that even if she would see that smelly packy girl being crowned Miss World in front of her own eyes, she would not believe it. In short, Emily accused his auntie's lawyer of creating and forging all the documents needed to perpetrate a fraud upon the court and have all the charges dismissed. She also believed that his auntie had changed the name of her Muslim daughter in order to claim that she was the present crowned Miss World. For that reason, Emily advised her boyfriend not to waste his time searching the internet or going to the attorney's office. Rahul had doubts because the claims were going to be very difficult to prove if all this was a deception. His auntie was right. A simple search would confirm or disprove his cousin's claim as beauty queen of India and the free world. While his girlfriend was sleeping, he slipped out of the bedroom. As a thief in the night, he tiptoed sneaking into the living room where the computer sat. Rahul was allowed by the Baroda police to stay in the house of his mother until the trial was over. Then, he followed the advice of his auntie and began to Google the name of Aphrodite Krishna Khan. Hundreds of articles came up immediately. After reading a few of them, Rahul was convinced that there was an Indian girl by that name who won Miss India and Miss World in just the last year. He also found many YouTube videos showing the crowning of Aphrodite Khan as Miss India and Miss World. Rahul was dumbstruck by the unmatchable beauty of the girl and her sexy, perfectly shaped body. He could not believe his eyes that there was a human being with such marvelous beauty. After overcoming the shock, he began to read more articles on the background of Aphrodite Khan. He came to know that she played a role in a movie in Bollywood and she was originally from Iran. For that reason, she was known in Bollywood as the Iranian heroine. He also found a video about her interview before she was crowned Miss Mumbai. In the interview, Aphrodite claimed to have started building a 17-story building to provide shelter for over 1,500 urchins and slum children of Mumbai. Rahul spent 4 hours sitting in front of the computer reading about Aphrodite Krishna Khan. He discovered that what his auntie had said to him was true. There were still a few lingering doubts in his mind, given his girlfriend insisting something was amiss. Emily had told him that there might be a Miss World by the name his auntie had mentioned and she might look like the burqa girl that came to their apartment in America. But, how would he be able to verify the claim of his auntie about adopting her? Nevertheless, Rahul reasoned out that if his auntie's other claims about her adopted daughter were proved to be true, then he had no right to doubt that the girl who came to his apartment in the States and the one who became Miss India, a Bollywood heroine, and Miss World was one and the same. Consequently, he decided to go to his auntie's lawyer and find out about his auntie's claim that her adopted Muslim daughter was worth over 450 crores of rupees. Without the knowledge of his girlfriend, Rahul looked up the law firm and met with the lawyer. The lawyer told him that his auntie had already contacted him and given her permission for her nephew to view all the documents that had been gathered for her defense at trial. The first document that Rahul saw was an official bank balance of the overseas Swiss bank account of her daughter, Aphrodite Krishna Khan. The second document was an official bank transfer balance of her account from the Abu Dhabi International Bank. The official documentation did not give Rahul any chance to doubt the genuineness of their sources. The lawyer told Rahul that if he still had any doubts about the truthfulness of the two documents, he could ask his mother's lawyer to contact him, and then both lawyers could authenticate them as from reliable sources. However, Rahul decided not to accept the lawyer's challenge. He apologized and reassured the lawyer that all his doubts had been removed. After that, the lawyer showed Rahul official police reports issued by the anti-terrorism squad of the Mumbai Police Department, which showed that Rani Krishna's house and Aphrodite Khan's construction site were blown up by Dawood Ibrahim's gangs in Bandra and Dharavi. The lawyer also showed him another report of the female Hindu police officer who was stripped naked and raped in front of many residents at the building where she used to live. The last official evidence that the lawyer showed Rahul was the dossier that contained the statements of the South Indian nuns, which were taken by New Delhi police inspectors. Their statements revealed that some Muslim terrorists broke into their faith home and asked them to reveal the hiding place of Rani Krishna and Aphrodite Khan. The statements revealed further that although the nuns had already told the terrorists that Rani and Aphrodite had fled, they still raped two of them and murdered the third nun. After meeting the lawyer of his auntie, Rahul no longer had any doubts about his cousin. His conscience troubled him so much when he remembered the inhumane way he and his girlfriend had treated her. He recollected that they had treated her like an untouchable outcast, defiled by birth, or like a person infected with a contagious disease. Feelings of angst rose within him when he realized that he had just humiliated the richest girl in India, who was supposed to be his wife. A wife who would bring with her over $100 million in dowry was made to sleep on a concrete slab in a two-car garage and on a hard-tiled kitchen floor of their apartment. After concluding his inquiries, Rahul understood why his late mother had changed her will and made this new condition impacting him. He concluded that his mother changed her will when saw the unmatched beauty of Aphrodite Khan and knew about the millions of dollars she had. His mother wanted her son to marry one of the most beautiful girls in the world and share her fortune. It dawned upon Rahul that his auntie's hands were not stained with his mother's blood. The moment Rahul got his facts straight, he lost all interest in his American girlfriend. His mind was now preoccupied with visions of Miss India, the Iranian heroine of Bollywood, and Miss World. He started to envision life with his bride. In a very short time, he became obsessed, spending hours discreetly looking at her photos and videos on the internet. Her breathtaking beauty and sexy body kindled uncontrollable desires in him. He went as far as kissing her image on the computer screen. Before long, he was masturbating to her pageant swimsuit image. While he tried to hide his new infatuation, his affection and desire for Emily continued to wane, superseded by his new love interest. Emily was totally eclipsed by Miss World and was now second fiddle.